Hello everyone. In that video I'm going to explain you some theory about two minor pieces fighting against the rook. You will learn a couple of basic concepts that you need to know about it, and later you will have got a chance to watch one of my games that I put those principles into the practice, and later you can also see the analysis of those games. And before we talk about that topic, let me just remind you that you can visit stopmakingblunders.madbobula.com and you can get completely for free a free workbook that will help you to blunder less. Okay, so first of all, let me start with some general principles. First and the most important general principle says that two minor pieces are more or less equal to rook and 2 pawns. Even if two minor pieces are only 6 points, if you sum it up, rook and 2 pawns is 7 points. But it's more or less, it has got very similar power. And you also need to know that in the positions in the middle game, when there are more other pieces on the board, two minor pieces are slightly better than rook and 2 pawns. But on the other hand, in endgames, when there are not that many pieces, only a couple pawns left, and of course, rook and 2 pawns against two minor pieces, then rook and 2 pawns is more powerful. So this is the most important principle you need to know, and everything other that you need to know about it, you have to start from this one. So let me just explain you maybe the position that allowed me to understand what is the difference between endgame and middle game if we talk about two minor pieces fighting against the rook and the 2 pawns. So this is the position. As probably you can see, this is the position that comes from the French defense, from the Tarrasch variation, but we are not going to talk about any opening theory. That position is just the example. And you need to know that here there is a one move, there is a one variation that white can play, which is bishop takes h7. Now, of course, black has got no other choice but capture, and now white captures knight to e6. And now you need to know that black has got two alternative plans, two alternative variations. One variation is that black decides to move that queen back. In case knight captures at f8, queen captures to f8, and you can see that black has got two minor pieces for rook and 2 pawns. But this is the middle game. So according to the principle, two minor pieces, they should be slightly better. And we are going to talk about that position in a second. But I also wanted to show you an alternative variation because some people, they may think that queen takes c1 is better. Then, of course, white captures at f8 with a check. King goes somewhere. Rook captures, king captures. And we also have got a very similar position, two minor pieces fighting against rook and 2 pawns. But this time, this is the endgame. So, first question, which variation is better for black? Which variation black should choose? Of course, according to the principle that we have discussed, it's much better to go for the variation with queen to f6, because as the principle says, it's much better to play in the middle game if you fight. So the question is, which variation should black pick? And of course, the correct answer is that black is supposed to play queen to f6, because black will have got two minor pieces for rook and 2 pawns, but this is gonna be the middle game. And now let's just discuss both positions and let's just compare those variations. Let's start with the worst line. So after this move, knight takes f8, king goes here, rook captures c1, king captures here. And usually in this position, the best move for white is rook goes here, because white really wants to activate rooks. White really wants to start using those rooks into the open files. You can see that both rooks are attacking into the open files. black usually is trying to develop that bishop here, and now white is of course trying to use the pawn majority, so white very often plays this move. You also need to know that g4 might be the idea. You also need to know that rook c5 might be a move that creates a very serious problem to that pawn. So black usually goes rook to d8 in this position, and now of course you can see that now there is a threat that knight will capture at the d4, so white has to play rook here. Okay, in case black is bringing king closer, white plays g4, and you can see that there is an initiative in the white's position. Bishop has to go back, and now white is bringing king closer. And you can see, I hope now it's clear, that white has got the advantage. Of course, the game is not completely over, but you can see that rook controls the open file. White can start pushing those pawns forward. White's king is coming, and black hasn't got any activity in this position. So I remember I studied that position a lot. I spent a couple evenings analyzing that position, and I was not able to find any activity for black in that endgame. So let's go back to another to starting position, and now let's check what's gonna happen after queen to f6. Of course, knight captures. Queen captures. Usually in this position, white plays queen to g5. White is also trying to be more active. You can see that pawn at the d5 is hanging. Of course, black is developing bishop. Black is bringing bishop into a very good diagonal. White is bringing the rook into the action. And now black also wants to be active, so black plays here. The idea is to go rook d6, and later that rook can be used on the different squares on the 6th rank. After rook e3, black can play rook to d6, and you can see that white, let's imagine, is bringing that piece here. Black plays rook to g6. After, for example, white checks, black plays rook to h6. And you can see, of course, I'm not gonna say that black is winning this position, but black has got definitely more active position. That rook is attacking here, that bishop is also more active. White cannot use that pawn majority because white cannot open the king, because that king is gonna be very weak. So, you know, to sum up everything, this is the position that allowed me to understand that it's much better to play in the middle game when you have got two minor pieces. Okay, and couple important points to the end, because we talked about rook and two pawns against two minor pieces, that rook and two pawns is slightly better in the endgame, two minor pieces are slightly better in the middle game. You need to know that rook and one pawn is almost always worse than two minor pieces. The same happens rook without a pawn. It's almost always worse than two minor pieces as well, which is of course I think pretty logical. Of course there might be some exceptions, but I'm just talking in general. And if we talk about minor pieces, usually if we compare rook to two minor pieces, we say we talk about the knight and the bishop. And you just need to know that two knights are slightly worse than bishop and the knight. And you also need to know that two bishops are slightly better than knight and the bishop, because you know bishop pair also can be very powerful. So you need to know, for example, that two bishops are usually better even in the end game than rook and two pawns. Of course, depends on the position, but usually two bishops are more powerful. So hope you understand those concepts a little bit more, because I know that this is a pretty advanced topic, and now I think you can see how did I use it, how did I create the attack in one of my games. Okay, I think I have seen that opponent somewhere before. Okay, so I play d4, d5, c4. So this is gonna be Queen's Gambit. Okay, opponent plays Queen's Gambit accepted, and now there are two ways I usually play. I mean, I always play knight f3, and later I play sometimes by playing e3 and bishop takes c4, which is the main variation, or something that is not as popular, but also it's not a sideline. Queen a4 and queen captures c4. Maybe I will play queen to a4 and queen takes c4, of course in case opponent plays, you know, knight to f6, because this is like a more Catalan style and I really like Catalan. So queen goes to the a4. Now, if I'm not wrong, there are like 5 different moves that opponent can play, and queen d7 as well. So there are 5 different possibilities. Probably the best move for black is c6. At least according to my experience, c6 is the best move. Of course, I have to take it. But let's see what opponent is going to play here. I mean, after every move, I'm gonna capture at c4. Okay, except of maybe I think knight here. After knight here, I think I can start with the g6, with the g3. a6, and I think I can play knight to c3 then. b5 doesn't work because knight captures b5. Okay, but my opponent seems to be a little bit surprised because this is move number 4 and opponent is still thinking. So let's see. Well, okay, opponent plays c6. I'm gonna capture with a queen because there was a threat of playing b5. And now black usually plays bishop f5, e6, bishop e7, castle, knight d7. This is the common way of playing. Opponent plays e6. e6, it's not maybe a mistake. It's not a mistake. Bishop f5 usually it's slightly better. After g3 we are going to transpose into the one of the Catalan variations. Usually black plays here, a6. Okay, so it's bishop e7. It's 100% not the most accurate approach for black. But by the way, this is one of the reasons why I really like Catalan, because you know it's not as popular. It's not super popular at you know at this level, and it's very popular among grandmasters. It's not as popular, you know, below 2300, and black really needs to know how to play if black wants to get an equal position. It is possible, but black really needs to know what to do. Because now I'm pretty sure I'll be slightly better. I want to play knight. Yeah, okay, let's develop my knight to c3. Opponent probably will go there. I think b5 doesn't work right now because c6 is hanging. I control the center. Maybe I can play e4. I think I can develop my bishop to the f4 square. Okay, I can go here, either here. I personally prefer this square because queen is supporting e4, queen is also protecting that pawn. Yes. Next move e4, rook d1, bishop f4. Also probably knight to e5. Knight e5 is a very common place where you put your knight in the Catalan. And also what you need to know is that black has got a very serious problem how to develop that bishop. Because that bishop, this is why I told you in the move number 4, in the move number 5, black should have developed that bishop to the f5. So bishop is developed because now you can see that that bishop is restricted by black's pawns. Okay, so I'm just thinking what opponent can do. Okay, maybe opponent wants to play knight to d5. Now, of course, I cannot go there because I don't want to allow my opponent to open my king. The most obvious move is this move. And after knight b4, I can just go back. So it does make a lot of sense to go e4. I can also move my rook to d1. It's always a good idea to bring the rook. Another move is knight to e5, because knight to e5 is stopping that idea, because I think that this is something opponent wants to do. Opponent wants to develop the light square bishop. I cannot blame the opponent. This is something opponent is supposed to do. So after this move, opponent can go there, and d6 is not that well defended. Yeah, but if I start here, knight to b4, queen to e2, pawn goes to b6, there is a bishop a6 skewer threat. I go there. Yeah, that's the question. Should I play it? Should I allow this move or not? Knight to e5. e4. No, but I think opponent... I go rook to d. I think opponent... It's not a good idea for opponent to take a look. There is a funny variation. Here, queen to e2. Opponent plays b6. I think I can play a3. Bishop a6, skewer. And I think I can get that... I can move my queen to d1. And I will get two minor pieces for the... Yeah, I play e4. I can get two minor pieces for the rook. So of course I don't mind to do that. Also after this move I can move my queen directly to d1. I know that this is a starting position for a queen, but also later what that knight is going to do with a... Yeah, what that knight can do. Okay. Here b6, a3, bishop a6, queen to d1. In case opponent captures, I capture back with a bishop. In case opponent plays knight to d3, knight to d3 might be a little bit annoying. Then what? How can I trap that knight? Because this is what I'm trying to do. Maybe I can just move my queen to the a4, queen c8, and then what? I mean, I think it's queen to e2 looks more natural, because after this move probably c5. Let's go here. I see that there is a potential skewer, but I think I don't need to be afraid of it. After this move a3. Bishop takes f1, bishop takes f1, and knight is completely trapped. Of course, okay, opponent goes there. Let's play a3. Maybe opponent doesn't expect that there is any danger in this position. Because at the first glance it looks like it's a skewer. But it's a trap. Okay, I play queen to d1. Okay, so this is okay. Am I blind or not? But as I told you a couple moves ago, that knight's gonna be trapped. It cannot go anywhere here, it cannot go there, it cannot go here, because my bishop is blocking here. So I lost the rook, I got the bishop, and I will get the knight. And that means that, yeah, two minor pieces. Two minor pieces for the rook. Okay, maybe I will lose pawn at the e4 in case opponent plays, you know, a5. I will take it, takes. I will take it. Queen takes here. What's then? I have to move my knight, or I play here. Opponent takes, I take. Okay, I think I will take it. So it's gonna be for a pawn. Okay, here. Queen takes, and I think I can go here. I can take it. Actually, okay, maybe I should have calculated that move a little bit, because maybe knight a4 would have been slightly better, but then opponent has got b5. Okay, in the worst case, after this move I'll take, opponent takes, I will... Okay, opponent goes knight to d5, so I don't need to be worried about this anymore. And now take a look, because I think it's pretty important right now. I have got two minor pieces, knight and a bishop, for rook and the pawn. So it's equal on the material, but especially in the middle game, two minor pieces are much stronger. Because if I'm able to coordinate them, I can get a very strong attack on the king. And now, so probably, I said this, and now probably I'm gonna organize some kind of attack on the king, on the opponent's king. And the question is, should I take it? Probably opponent will take it back, or take it back with a pawn, and opponent will try to somehow infiltrate on the queen side. This is something I would rather avoid. According to the principle, I should avoid exchanges, right? Because two minor pieces are better in the middle game. So it looks like I will play here, later bishop d3, and I will try to create some checkmate threats on the king. So let's just trust into the principle. Now I'm planning to checkmate opponent's king. Okay, opponent plays c5. Opponent wants to open the position a little bit. So what to do? Bishop g5, should I exchange it? Takes, knight takes h6. I'm also a little bit afraid of this. So maybe I can just develop my bishop to d3. I have got also some lines like this. Or maybe this move, h6, queen to h5. Does it make sense? Okay, opponent captures. Of course I can take it back, but I think I don't have to do that. I don't have to do it immediately. Because if I'm trying to checkmate opponent's king, it should be better for me to go there. And after this move, queen here. I'm just thinking, isn't that a little bit too risky? Maybe simply bishop d2, so opponent cannot pin that bishop. Bishop g5, takes, h6. I can also place my knight at the d6. Or what else I can do? Oh, you know what? I'll play here. I want to be safe. How to checkmate opponent's king? Maybe I can try to move somehow my queen to the e4. Okay, bishop c5, trying to... Okay, I'm not afraid of this. Now I'm pretty sure I can go there. Because you see, when my bishop was at c1, I was afraid that opponent will pin it and I'll be in trouble. So this is why now I want to bring my knight. After this move, I will go there. I don't think opponent can take it because I will just take it and will checkmate opponent's king. Okay, pawn goes to f5. So this is, opponent is desperated here. Okay, and now I have got... I mean, of course, I have to consider en passant. If I capture, probably knight takes. Okay, so if I capture, knight takes. Or let's take I have got another idea. If I go there, opponent goes here, I play queen to this place, opponent takes, I capture with a knight. Opponent goes, rook here. Check here. Should be win. That should be win. And if I capture, opponent will take it. No, this is... Because this move will help opponent to survive, so I think I can go there. That should work. This move, I think I don't need to play this. I've read checkmate. Knight takes. Okay, even if I'm not able to checkmate the opponent, I still should be able to, yes, I still should be able to win a lot of material. Because now opponent has to move the rook somewhere. Okay, and now let's just find a way how I can win this. I can check here. Let's just calculate this move. Check, king goes there, captures. No, this is, am I blind or is it? I think this is a checkmate. If I see the checkmate, of course, I do not hesitate to go there. I can take it. Check. And if I'm not wrong, next move, it's a checkmate. You know, queen and the knight, it's called the devil's pair because they are that good when it comes to attacking opponent's king. This is a very powerful pair of pieces. And opponent resigns because in the next move, that would be a checkmate. So, okay, so I think I just followed the principle and I was able to win because of that. Let's just take a look. Let's just talk about this game and let's try to see what was good, what can be improved. Okay, I play c4. Pawn captures. Okay, queen to a4. I told you this is queen's gambit accepted. Queen takes c4. And now the main variation is bishop f5. Here, bishop goes to e7, castle, knight goes here, knight to c3, opponent castles. And this is a critical position because white has got, I think white has got several different ideas. I think there is rook e1, I think there is e3, there is, I think, queen to b3, there is bishop f4, bishop g5. So I think I tried most of them. I don't know which I don't know which one do I prefer the most, but I tried all of them, I think, in my life. Maybe, probably I like e3 with the idea to go queen to e2. After this move, you can go queen to e2, and later, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop goes to e4, and if I'm not wrong, there is c4. And later you are trying also to remove that bishop from the e4 square. This is one of the main ways how white can play. Let's go back to the game because in the game opponent didn't play bishop f5 but e6, and in this position bishop e7. After bishop e7 I knew that I'm better. There is a variation b5, here bishop b7, I think black plays here, a6 here, and black plays c5, and there is such a variation. White I think can capture here. And that variation leads into it leads into after a couple moves, black needs to know a couple moves more, but leads into more or less equal position. But opponent played bishop e7. Okay, so I just played bishop g2 here, knight d7, knight to c3. Okay, it's not a huge advantage. White is just slightly better because white has got control over the center, white has got more space, and now knight goes to the d5. And now I decided to play e4. If you remember, I considered a couple options here, but I wanted to go for that line with a trap. So e4, I think it does make sense. And now after queen to e2, I think b6, rook, I played a3, bishop a6 here. And this is the position that I'm pretty sure opponent made a huge mistake, because bishop takes f1, opponent played that move automatically, opponent didn't think long enough, and after bishop takes f1, that knight is gone. That knight's gonna be completely trapped. So of course this is not a good idea. Yes, this is not a good idea. So probably black's supposed to play here. After this move, I wanted to move my queen to a4. It's attacking the bishop, opponent has to protect it, and I wanted to go here. And I'm also pretty sure I have got the advantage, because later I can go there. That knight is in trouble, opponent will have to take it, I capture with the rook, and I think white's position is slightly better. Okay, but opponent captures a5, and now I decided to take it, takes, Now we have got so much exchanges. And now in this position, I told you I played too quickly. Now I made a mistake because I played e5 without calculating deep enough variations. Because, you know, if I have got two minor pieces are more or less equal to rook and 2 pawns. And in the middle game, 2 minor pieces are better. In the end game, rook and 2 pawns, they are better. And this is the middle game, and it's rook for only 1 pawn. In this position, I just played e5 without thinking. I should have played probably this move. Probably knight here. This is something I'm supposed to do, because after e5, opponent made a mistake by playing knight to d5. But opponent had got a chance to capture. I take. Opponent captures, because I thought that I can take it and I'm good. But opponent can promote into the queen. And this is the variation that I just realized after I played the move. And we could get a very funny position, 2 queens fighting against my king. Yeah, this is something that this is something we could get, but probably it's more or less equal, because I mean usually 3 minor pieces are better than the queen, but opponent has got 2 pawns. So definitely this is not something I wanted to try. This is the reason why probably I would take it, and bishop takes. And I think I'm slightly better because this is still the middle game. And I have to attack opponent's king, of course. But I should have played knight to a4. Okay, but after this move here. And now I just decided to go here according to the principle. Keep pieces on the board and try to attack opponent's king. After this move, bishop d3. I think it does make sense. Captures bishop d2. So in case my queen will move away, there is no longer a pin. I think it does make a lot of sense. Bishop c5. It's not a good idea for the opponent. Opponent is trying to protect those pawns, but those pawns, they are not that important. I'm pretty sure the best thing that black can do is to try to get some counterplay on the queen side. This is the only chance for black in this position. Because after this move, okay, knight to g5. Here, after h6, f5 was a mistake. Can I play? I think I wanted to go there. The question is, can I play this move? Would it be a good idea? Because you see, let me just tell you one word about the f5, because that move happened and now it's over. And I think it's pretty forced. Checkmate, here, and opponent cannot stop the checkmate. By the way, this is something that happened. So f5 was definitely a losing move. After h6, I go here. Okay, let's imagine opponent will get some counterplay. I have to play here and captures. And now I think this is a very important moment, because if I can get a very strong attack, that means that it was a good idea for me. That will mean that my instinct was correct. But how can I win? So I have to calculate couple options. When you're attacking, it's a good idea to calculate checks, captures, threats. So I'm gonna consider as a candidate move this move, probably also takes, and maybe this threat. Queen takes h6. I don't believe that this is gonna work. So yeah, so probably I'm gonna consider those ideas. So let's start from the beginning. After this move, yeah, let's even, in case opponent captures with a pawn, I take and I checkmate. So opponent has to capture like this. Pawn takes here, I win. But there is queen takes here. And I'm a little bit afraid that my attack will be gone. And even in this position, I don't want to play this position, because now I have to fight for a draw, and I'm down 3 pawns, but those are opposite color bishops. But now I have to fight for I just need to fight for a draw. So of course this is not something I want to do. Okay, so I think we can say that this move leads me into a worse position. What else? Later I also wanted to consider those 3 moves. Knight takes here, probably opponent takes back, and now maybe queen to g6. And now my threat is knight protects bishop, and I want to go there and want to checkmate the opponent somehow. And also there is bishop 8 takes h6. Okay, so that looks really good. Rook f7, bishop takes h6 probably even. Okay, I have to say, okay, I do not see a checkmate, but I have to say that white has got a big advantage. Yes, so knight takes e6 looks like a variation that leads, it looks like the variation that leads into a big advantage. This is something I would definitely consider. It's much better than knight f6. Okay, let's analyze another move. Knight takes f7, rook takes f7. But now I see that this is a worse version, because after this move I had got queen to g6. Now if I go queen to g6, I have got the same position. So the same position, I'm just down one tempo. So it's not a good, I mean, 100% it's worse, that variation after knight takes e6. So no, this is something that is 100% worse. It's better than knight takes f6, but it's worse. And after this move, I think king cannot really take it, because now I have got some kind of a check, and bishop takes h6. So king will be completely mated. So I don't want to do that. Yes, I don't want to do that. I mean, I would love to do that, but I don't think opponent would do that. So the question is what opponent can do after knight h7. Let's imagine rook is under attack. So if opponent cannot take it, let's imagine that opponent moves the rook. I have got maybe, I'm just thinking here. Okay, if I go there, knight takes, here. Is there a mate or not? I have got this move. King goes there, queen takes f7, and this should be a checkmate. So okay, so yes, there should be a checkmate. So I have to say it's pretty complicated, but okay, let's also check this one. Takes. Of course, pawn probably cannot take it because bishop takes here, and I think it's over. Checkmate in the next two moves. So I think I cannot do that. I mean, opponent cannot do it, but what else opponent can do? So maybe it's a bad idea for opponent to move the rook, because knight can go there. That knight h7, I have to admit that I thought that knight takes e6 is gonna be the best, but I like knight h7 even more. I like it even more than this. But let's say opponent plays what? Bishop e7, trying to protect it. But what if I just continue the same idea and now bishop takes h6? Okay, looks like it's over, because this is exactly the same thing. And after this move, I think I have got that idea, knight to f6, and I think the game is over. Yes. So you see, let me just go back. So in this position, I have to admit, because I told you that because I have got a lot of pieces. I have got 4 minor pieces and my queen around the opponent's king, and I think that it should be enough to checkmate. At least this is what I hope for, and I think this is true. It's not something that obvious. It's not something that easy if opponent gets a counterplay, but I think it should be possible, and the best move is probably knight to h7 with that threat, and my minor pieces are coming. So this is something you have to remember, that if you have got 2 minor pieces for the rook, you should try to create you should avoid exchanges, and you should try to attack opponent's king. And in general, when you're attacking, consider checks, captures, threats. Also try to think about bringing more and more pieces into the action. And I think that game proves those principles. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the new format, please let me know about it in the comments. Let me know if you want to change something, of course. Please thumb up that video, it will really help me. And subscribe the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you very much, and hope to see you soon.